Ever since Summer Games Fest 2023, I've received several DMs asking, is there any update, is there any news about the state of Throne and Liberty? And today I'm actually thrilled to be able to share with you the latest round of developments, including release date changes, combat system changes, and so much more. So hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Brian. If you happen to be new around here, we've got a lot to talk about today. I'm going to break down the information for you all, give you guys my thoughts, what we should expect, and when should we expect it. So stick around for this video. We've got a lot to talk about. Before we dive into it, I do want to say thank you guys so much for the support. We are under 150 subscribers away from the next milestone at 65,000. Also, thank you for the supports. I've been issuing like challenges on the video. The last video got 31 likes, which it isn't really a subject that I cover that often here, so I wasn't surprised that YouTube wasn't really recommending out the video. If you guys are curious and you want to check it out after this video, that'd be great. But also, I issued a 200 like challenge on the previous video, and it is almost at 150 at the time of this recording, so thank you guys for the support. I think we should maybe go with a conservative or, you know, just a little challenge of 50 likes on this video. If you guys enjoy it, feel free to help out, and that seems to be a lot of fun, and I appreciate you guys and the support. So let's break it down. First things first, when it comes down to the announcements, this is coming from NCSoft's second quarter 2023 report, and the release date is changing, and also what is changing is their goal of releasing these games at the same time. This means what we're going to see here is that the Korean version of Throne and Liberty will launch first, and they're still aiming for a fourth quarter 2023 release. The reason why I'm glad they're going ahead and decoupling the global release from the Korean release, while they did state that they're going to try to keep these together, I don't know why you would want to launch any game right now in the already overstacked 2023 at the end of this year. Now, you might be saying, I'm Brian, I'm really looking forward to playing Throne and Liberty. I'm sad that it's delayed, and I understand that, and I sympathize with you and your view here. I'm just thinking that you aren't the majority of gamers, and what's going to end up happening is that the game would just have been overrun with everything. I mean, just look at Baldur's Gate 3 and Starfield alone as two big hitting RPGs for the end, kind of rounding out the end of this year. But that's not to be alone. That's not to say there isn't Spider-Man. That's not to say there isn't Super Mario Wonder. I could go on, and maybe I make a video of the upcoming hot releases here on the channel pretty soon. But on that note, like the fact that they could go ahead and just release in Korea, work out the issues. Same thing that's happening with Blue Protocol. They're working out, they're adjusting so that we don't necessarily have to kind of take that brunt. They're the first line through. They figure out the problems and get them fixed. But the release date hasn't always been the problem. Now, obviously, they aren't announcing the 2024 release, but it looks like the global version is shifting to 2024, which I think is perhaps for the best. Launching sometime in the spring or late winter is perhaps going to give them the best opportunity. If they delay it too far, then they're going to be stacked up against Final Fantasy XIV's latest expansion, which we know from Final Fantasy XIV's cycle is that pre-expansion hype, expansion hype tends to be pretty powerful, especially with an established game like Final Fantasy XIV. Anyhow, 2024, thinking of that, I will keep you guys up to date, but that isn't the big issue that a lot of people had. They talked about auto combat, but mostly the combat itself changes. I think when it comes down to it, this is something that can be solved with them working on the combat system, and that is what they're doing. It looks like they're going to be overhauling the battle system, making it more dynamic, making it easier to move while attacking, and I think that's something to be applauded because that's what the point of betas are. We should celebrate when companies take the time to make betas happen, not marketing betas, as those are two drastically different things. Let's bring it up. Let's read it to you guys. The feedback, the Throne and Liberty content's feedback, and it had three main points, the good and bad. The good thing is that we have all received for large-scale competitive content. There was the praise for the open world implementation, and there was positive response to BM. The reason why you are reminding me of a lot to regret about my early growth experience, and it is understood that there is need to improve the combat system. So in a broad sense, it seems that there are two main improvements. First, the dynamic combat, a variation that can be done in parallel with the normal attack. as the story comes, and from several feedbacks, the improved response speed in this regard, it has been improved to enable dynamic play. The second is the fun of growing up. In order to reconsider the growth, improvements were made simply to reducing the repetitive content and greatly increasing the level of growth speed. I think a lot of improvements have been made. Now, it goes on to talk about the regionalness by age, and at that point, honestly, it lost me, so we're not going to cover it here because I like to sound like I know what I'm talking about and not necessarily like I'm completely tripping over my words, even though that does happen from time to time. Shout out to my fellow dyslexic gamers out there on the internet. Now, those things all put together, I think, are a good step. I think when it comes down to it, those who've written off the game already because of X, Y, and Z will consider checking out the game again once the marketing and hype spouts or spigots get turned back on and people like me who are excited about games go and check it out and give you guys the thoughts when I finally get to go hands on with it. Now, I did talk about at the start of this video, kind of alluding to when we might see some more official news, and the best news is Gamescom is right around the corner. That's where it appears we're going to start to hear more about this, more about New World's new expansion, new information about Blue Protocol, as that's a great way for Amazon to sit down and give everybody an update. That does mean that two of the big games that Amazon has on their publishing list completely missed 2023 from a global market sense, but I'm not going to fault delays, especially when it comes to these games and service games. It can only, in my mind, make sure that they're ready to go and ready to deliver both a good product and a good service to us, the players who are eagerly and excitedly awaiting some new MMOs to play on the market. So, combat changes. Now, obviously no mention of the auto battle system, but I want to talk about that as kind of the final thought here. Auto combat, for me, I'm willing to give it a shot. And that's just because I think, just like I tell my kids, you got to at least try the vegetable. You got to at least try it, and see how it feels. It doesn't mean that I'm going to like it. It doesn't mean that you're going to like it. I could be surprised. You could be surprised. I just believe in trying things and seeing how it feels. But if they make combat way more dynamic, engaging, and much more interesting to do, don't make auto combat that as well. Like, keep auto combat, if you're going to keep it, as kind of the lowest, inefficient, slowest thing possible. Because there's a curiosity I have with sandbox and open world content, I'm wondering what is the right solution, because we all talk about the old school RPGs with such love and fondness, but those were also of their time. And I think that we have to be realistic in bringing in new technologies to sit here and see how can we bolster this beautiful thing, especially open world stuff. That's something I really enjoy in the MMOs, and make it viable for players of all, shapes and sizes. Otherwise, you end up just running into the narrative of dead game. It's almost guaranteed, regardless of what you think about the combat system, is that when people all of a sudden start to feel like things are shrinking, then essentially it's kind of the cycle of doom that you have to kind of get out of, which takes a lot of time, money, effort, and honestly, as a content creator, I'm just going to be having fun with the games. And I'm not going to join in on any dead game bandwagon. It's just too much. Anyway, that's the news. That's the information. I'm not here to waste your time. I do appreciate it if you've hit that like button as a part of the challenge. I do welcome you in if you are a new subscriber here to the channel. Thank you guys so much for your time, energy, support, and hopefully I'll be bringing you guys new and updated information here today, shortly, tomorrow. I like making videos. I like talking games, and that's what you're going to get here at Ginger Prime. Thanks guys so much for your time. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Hopefully I'll see you next time. But until then, take care.